Imagine a world where the most iconic equation in history, EMC2, was never written. A world where our understanding of space, time, gravity, and the very fabric of reality remained locked in the limitations of 19th century thinking. A world where nuclear energy was never harnessed, where GPS satellites couldn't function, where our comprehension of the universe stopped at the edges of what Newton could explain. What if I told you that if Albert Einstein had never existed, the entire trajectory of human scientific progress, technological advancement, and even geopolitical history would be so dramatically different that you might not recognize the world you live in today? The absence of one man, one brilliant mind born in Ulm, Germany in 1879, would create ripples through time so profound that nearly every aspect of modern civilization would be transformed, delayed, or might never exist at all. Before we journey into this alternate reality where Einstein never graced our world with his genius, I need something crucial from you. We're setting an ambitious goal. 100 comments on this video, and I need every single one of you to watch until the very last second. Here's why this matters more than you might think. YouTube's algorithm is designed to reward complete watch time and engagement. When you subscribe right now and commit to staying with me through this entire mind-bending exploration, the platform's artificial intelligence literally prioritizes you. You get notified first, your feed gets populated first, and you're essentially jumping to the front of the line for every piece of content we create. Those who bounce early or skip around get pushed to the back, sometimes never seeing our videos again. We need to hit this goal to prove to YouTube that this content matters, that you care about these deep dives into alternative history, and that we deserve the resources to keep creating these documentaries. So do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now. Commit in your mind to watching every second of this video and drop a comment telling me what you think or where you're watching from. Together, we can build something special. Now let's explore what happens when the greatest scientific mind of the 20th century never exists. The year is 1879, and in our alternate timeline, Pauline and Hermann Einstein never have their son Albert. Perhaps the pregnancy never occurs. Maybe complications arise, or possibly they have a daughter instead who pursues an entirely different path. The child who would grow up to revolutionize physics, who would challenge everything humanity thought it knew about the universe, who would become synonymous with genius itself, simply never exists. This absence seems small at first, just one person among billions throughout history, but the consequences ripple outward like waves from a stone thrown into a cosmic pond, ultimately reshaping the entire landscape of human knowledge and capability. Let me walk you through this transformed world, piece by piece, until you understand just how much one mind can matter. Let's begin with physics itself, the foundation of our scientific understanding of reality. In 1905, Einstein published 4 papers that fundamentally transformed physics. A year so productive it's called his Annus Mirabilis, or Miracle Year. Without Einstein, these breakthroughs either never happen or are dramatically delayed. His special theory of relativity, which explained that time and space are not absolute but relative to the observer's motion, revolutionized how we understand the universe. Before Einstein, physicists believed in absolute time and absolute space, concepts that seemed intuitive and matched everyday experience. Einstein showed that time can slow down, lengths can contract, and simultaneity is relative depending on your frame of reference. These aren't just abstract concepts. They're fundamental truths about reality that affect everything from particle physics to GPS satellites. Without Einstein, physics might have remained stuck in Newtonian mechanics for decades longer, unable to explain experimental results that contradicted classical predictions. The Michelson-Morley experiment of 1887 had already shown problems with the idea of luminiferous ether, the supposed medium through which light waves traveled, but without Einstein's relativity to explain why the speed of light is constant in all reference frames, physicists would have struggled to make sense of their observations. Other scientists were working on similar problems. Hendrik Lorentz and Henri Poincaré had developed mathematical frameworks that approached some of Einstein's conclusions, but Einstein provided the complete theoretical foundation and physical interpretation that made sense of everything. Without him, physics might have eventually arrived at similar conclusions through the work of others, but the path would have been longer, more confused, and more fragmented. The elegant simplicity of Einstein's approach, his ability to cut through mathematical complexity to reach profound physical insights, was unique. Without his clarity, physics might have wandered down less productive paths for years or decades, delaying everything that followed. Now consider general relativity, Einstein's masterwork published in 1915, which explained gravity not as a force, but as the curvature of space-time caused by mass and energy. This theory was so far ahead of its time, so radical in its reimagining of fundamental concepts, that it's unclear whether anyone else would have arrived at it within decades. General relativity predicted phenomena that seemed like science fiction. Black holes, gravitational waves, the expansion of the universe, gravitational lensing, time dilation in gravitational fields. Without Einstein's general relativity, our understanding of cosmology would be primitive. We wouldn't understand how the universe began, how it's evolving, or how it might end. The Big Bang theory, which explains the origin of the universe, is built on general relativity's equations. Without Einstein, cosmology might have remained stuck in the static universe models that preceded him, unable to explain observations like the redshift of distant galaxies discovered by Edwin Hubble in the 1920s. The technological implications of Einstein's absence are staggering. GPS satellites, which billions of people rely on every single day for navigation, require corrections based on both special and general relativity. Time passes differently for satellites in orbit than for receivers on Earth's surface due to their relative motion and the difference in gravitational field strength. Without Einstein's theories providing the framework to calculate these effects, GPS would be impossible or would accumulate errors of several miles per day, rendering it useless. Imagine a world without reliable GPS navigation. No turn-by-turn directions on your smartphone, no precise location services, no fleet management systems, no precision agriculture, no time-stamping for financial transactions that depend on synchronized clocks. The entire infrastructure of modern logistics, transportation and communication depends on GPS, which depends on Einstein's physics. Nuclear energy and nuclear weapons would not exist without Einstein's famous equation E=mc2, which revealed that mass and energy are interchangeable and that tiny amounts of mass contain enormous amounts of energy. This equation provided the theoretical foundation for understanding nuclear fission and fusion. Without it, physicists might have eventually discovered that splitting atoms releases energy, but without the theoretical framework to understand why or to calculate how much energy, the development of nuclear technology would have been delayed or might have taken a completely different path. The Manhattan Project, which developed the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, was directly inspired by Einstein's physics, even though Einstein himself wasn't involved in the project. Without E=mc2 providing the theoretical foundation, would physicists have understood how to build an atomic bomb? World War II might have ended differently, with a mainland invasion of Japan causing millions of additional casualties. The Cold War would have unfolded differently without nuclear weapons, creating the doctrine of mutually assured destruction that, paradoxically, may have prevented World War III by making direct superpower conflict too catastrophic to contemplate. Nuclear power plants, which today provide about 10% of the world's electricity and much higher percentages in countries like France, would not exist or would be dramatically delayed. The clean, carbon-free baseload power that nuclear energy provides would be absent, potentially making climate change even worse as humanity burned more fossil fuels to meet energy demands. The environmental movement might be weaker without nuclear accidents like Chernobyl and Fukushima to rally around, but climate change would likely be more severe without nuclear power's contribution to reducing carbon emissions. Let's discuss Einstein's contribution to quantum mechanics, which is often overshadowed by his relativity theories, but was equally important. In 1905, the same miracle year, Einstein explained the photoelectric effect by proposing that light consists of discrete packets of energy called photons, not continuous waves as classical physics assumed. This work helped establish quantum theory and earned Einstein the Nobel Prize in 1921. Without this contribution, the development of quantum mechanics might have been delayed or taken a different path. Quantum mechanics underpins all of modern electronics, from transistors to semiconductors to lasers to LEDs. Without a solid quantum theoretical foundation, the entire computer revolution might have been delayed by decades. The device you're watching this video on, whether it's a smartphone, tablet or computer, contains billions of transistors that work based on quantum mechanical principles. Without Einstein's contributions to quantum theory, these devices might not exist, or might be far more primitive. Lasers, which depend on quantum mechanics for their operation, might never be invented or would be dramatically delayed. Lasers are used in everything from barcode scanners to fiber optic communications to surgery to manufacturing to entertainment. DVD players, Blu-ray players, laser pointers, laser eye surgery, laser cutting and welding, fiber optic internet connections that enable high-speed global communications. All of this technology depends on lasers, which depend on quantum mechanics, which Einstein helped establish. Remove Einstein from history, and the entire technological landscape transforms in ways that compound over time. Medical imaging technology would be affected as well. PET scans, which use positron emission from radioactive decay to image the body's internal processes, rely on Einstein's physics for their theoretical foundation. Without Einstein, medical diagnostics would be more limited, and doctors would have fewer tools for detecting diseases early when they're most treatable. Cancer detection, brain imaging, cardiac imaging, all would be hampered by the absence of Einstein's theoretical contributions. Let's consider Einstein's impact on the scientific community and scientific culture more broadly. Einstein became the public face of science in the 20th century, the archetype of genius, the wild-haired professor whose name became synonymous with intelligence. His celebrity brought attention and prestige to physics and science generally, inspiring generations of young people to pursue scientific careers. Without Einstein as a cultural icon, science might have remained more obscure, less celebrated, less valued by the public. Government funding for scientific research, university physics departments, public support for space exploration and other scientific endeavors all might have been reduced without Einstein demonstrating that science could produce revolutionary insights that capture the public imagination. The philosophical implications of Einstein's absence are profound as well. His theories forced humanity to confront the fact that common-sense intuitions about time and space, developed through everyday experience, are wrong. Time is not absolute. Simultaneity is relative. Gravity is not a force but geometry, and mass and energy are the same thing in different forms. These revelations humbled humanity and showed that the universe is far stranger than our limited perceptions suggest. This philosophical shift influenced not just science, but culture, art, literature, and how humans think about their place in the cosmos. Without Einstein, this philosophical revolution might never occur, and humanity might remain more confident in its intuitive understanding of reality, more closed to possibilities beyond everyday experience. Einstein's work on Brownian motion, another paper from his miracle year of 1905, provided definitive evidence for the existence of atoms and molecules at a time when some scientists still doubted atomic theory. By analyzing the random motion of particles suspended in fluid, Einstein showed that this motion was caused by collisions with invisible molecules, and he calculated Avogadro's number, determining the size of atoms. Without this work, atomic theory might have taken longer to become universally accepted, delaying chemistry, materials science, and all the technologies that depend on understanding matter at the atomic level. Let's explore the geopolitical consequences of Einstein's absence in more detail. Einstein was Jewish and fled Nazi Germany in 1933 as Hitler rose to power, eventually settling in the United States. His letter to President Franklin Roosevelt in 1939, warning that Nazi Germany might be developing atomic weapons and urging the US to begin its own nuclear research, was instrumental in launching the Manhattan Project. Without Einstein's prestige and credibility, would Roosevelt have taken the threat seriously enough to invest the enormous resources required? Without the Manhattan Project, the US might not have developed atomic weapons before World War II ended. Japan might have been invaded instead of bombed, causing millions of additional casualties among both military personnel and civilians. The Soviet Union might have developed nuclear weapons first, dramatically altering the balance of power in the early Cold War. The entire post-war international order might have been different without nuclear weapons in American hands providing security and leverage. Einstein's pacifism and humanitarian advocacy influenced public discourse on war, peace, and social justice. He spoke out against nationalism, militarism, and racism throughout his life. He advocated for world government as a way to prevent future wars. He supported civil rights in America and corresponded with W.E.B. Du Bois. He warned about the dangers of nuclear weapons after their use in World War II, becoming an icon of the anti-nuclear movement. Without Einstein's voice, these causes might have had less visibility and less credibility. The peace movement, the civil rights movement, the anti-nuclear movement all benefited from Einstein's prestige and advocacy. His absence might have made these movements weaker and less effective. The impact on education and scientific training is worth considering as well. Einstein's theories, particularly relativity, became standard components of advanced physics education, shaping how generations of physicists think about the universe. Without relativity in the curriculum, physicists would be trained differently, thinking about problems differently, potentially missing insights that relativity provides. The entire culture of theoretical physics, with its emphasis on thought experiments, mathematical elegance, and radical reimagining of basic concepts, owes much to Einstein's example. Without him, physics might have remained more empirical, less theoretical, less willing to challenge fundamental assumptions. Let's think about popular culture and how Einstein shaped it. Einstein's image, with his wild white hair, baggy clothes, and mischievous expression, became iconic. He appeared on magazine covers, in advertisements, in movies and television shows. His name became a synonym for genius. People say, "You don't have to be an Einstein," or "Hey, Einstein," sarcastically to someone who makes a mistake. This cultural presence raised the profile of science and made intelligence something celebrated rather than mocked. Without Einstein as a cultural touchstone, the public perception of scientists and intellectuals might be different, potentially less positive, affecting everything from funding priorities to career choices of young people considering scientific fields. The impact on astronomy and our understanding of the cosmos is particularly dramatic. General relativity predicted that the universe must be either expanding or contracting. It cannot be static, as everyone believed before Einstein. When Edwin Hubble observed that distant galaxies are receding from us, confirming that the universe is expanding, it was Einstein's equations that provided the framework to understand what this meant. Without general relativity, Hubble's observations might have been misinterpreted or considered anomalous. The entire field of cosmology, which studies the origin, evolution, and ultimate fate of the universe, is built on Einstein's theoretical foundation. Without it, we would still be largely ignorant about where we came from and where we're going as a species and a universe. Black holes, those fascinating cosmic objects where gravity is so strong that not even light can escape, were first predicted as solutions to Einstein's equations. Without general relativity, we wouldn't understand black holes, wouldn't be looking for them, and wouldn't have discovered the supermassive black holes at the centers of galaxies or the colliding black holes that produce gravitational waves. The 2019 Event Horizon Telescope image of a black hole's shadow, one of the most iconic scientific images in history, would be impossible without Einstein's theory predicting what we should look for and where. Gravitational waves, ripples in space-time caused by accelerating massive objects, were predicted by Einstein in 1916, but not directly detected until 2015 by the LIGO Observatory, exactly 100 years later. This detection opened an entirely new way of observing the universe, allowing us to study cosmic events that produce no light or other electromagnetic radiation. Without Einstein's prediction, we wouldn't have been looking for gravitational waves, wouldn't have built the incredibly sensitive detectors required to find them, and would be missing this revolutionary new window on the cosmos. Let's consider the impact on timekeeping and the definition of time itself. Einstein showed that time is not absolute, but depends on motion and gravity. This understanding led to increasingly precise atomic clocks, and the realization that time passes at different rates in different situations. The definition of the second, the base unit of time in the International System of Units, depends on atomic transitions that are understood through quantum mechanics, which Einstein helped establish. Without Einstein, our timekeeping would be less precise, and we might not understand why high-precision clocks in different locations or at different altitudes tick at different rates. The impact on particle physics and our understanding of fundamental forces is significant as well. Einstein spent the last decades of his life searching for a unified field theory that would combine gravity with electromagnetism and potentially other forces into a single theoretical framework. While he never succeeded, his quest inspired generations of physicists to search for unification, leading to theories like quantum field theory, the standard model of particle physics, and modern attempts at theories of everything like string theory and loop quantum gravity. Without Einstein's example and inspiration, physics might have remained more fragmented, with less emphasis on finding deep connections between seemingly different phenomena. Let's explore how Einstein's work influences technology you use every day without realizing it. The solar panels that are increasingly common on rooftops work because of the photoelectric effect that Einstein explained in 1905. Without understanding that light consists of photons that can knock electrons loose from materials, solar cell technology would not exist or would be dramatically less efficient. The renewable energy revolution might be delayed or weakened without photovoltaic technology. particle accelerators, which are used for everything from cancer treatment to materials research to fundamental physics experiments, require relativistic calculations to work properly. When particles are accelerated to speeds close to the speed of light, their behavior deviates from Newtonian predictions and follows Einstein's relativity instead. Without Einstein's theories, these machines would not work as designed, hampering both medical treatment and scientific research. The concept of space-time, the four-dimensional fabric of the universe where space and time are intimately connected rather than separate entities, was Einstein's revolutionary contribution. This concept influences how physicists think about everything from quantum mechanics to cosmology to the search for quantum gravity. Without Einstein introducing space-time as a fundamental concept, physics might still be thinking about space and time as separate entities, missing deep connections and insights that the space-time framework provides. Now let's discuss the impact on materials science and technology development. Einstein's work on the quantum theory of specific heat helped establish that quantum mechanics applies to solid materials, not just atoms and light. This theoretical foundation contributed to the development of solid-state physics, which enabled the semiconductor revolution, which enabled computers, smartphones, and the entire digital age. Without Einstein's contributions to understanding how quantum mechanics affects materials, the development of transistors and integrated circuits might have been delayed, pushing back the computer revolution by years or decades. Consider the impact on chemical engineering and industrial processes. Understanding atomic and molecular behavior, which depends on quantum mechanics that Einstein helped establish, allows engineers to design better catalysts, more efficient chemical processes, and new materials with desired properties. Without this theoretical foundation, chemical engineering would be more trial and error, less predictable, and less efficient, affecting everything from petroleum refining to pharmaceutical manufacturing to plastics production. Einstein's work on stimulated emission, which describes how atoms can be induced to emit photons in a coordinated way, provided the theoretical foundation for lasers, even though lasers weren't invented until decades after his work. Without this theoretical prediction, researchers might not have thought to try creating devices that produce coherent light, and the laser revolution might never happen. The impact would cascade through fiber optic communications, data storage, manufacturing, medicine, and countless other fields that depend on laser technology. Let's talk about the cultural impact on how we think about genius and intelligence. Einstein's public persona as the absent-minded professor who could revolutionize physics while struggling with everyday tasks created a cultural archetype that influences how we think about intelligence. The idea that genius comes with social awkwardness, that brilliant minds operate differently from ordinary ones, that true intelligence involves seeing beyond conventional wisdom, all of these concepts were reinforced by Einstein's example. Without Einstein as an exemplar, our cultural understanding of intelligence might be different, potentially affecting how we identify, nurture, and value intellectual talent. The impact on immigration policy and attitudes toward refugees is worth noting as well. Einstein was a refugee from Nazi persecution who found safety and continued his work in America, becoming one of the most celebrated immigrants in U.S. history. His success story provided a powerful argument for welcoming refugees and immigrants, showing how much talent and potential arrives on our shores when we open our doors. Without Einstein's example, anti-immigration sentiment might be stronger and policies might be more restrictive, depriving America and the world of contributions from brilliant minds fleeing persecution or seeking opportunity. Now, as we approach the end of this exploration, think about the full scope of what we've discussed. Without Einstein, physics would be decades behind where it is today, stuck with inadequate theories, unable to explain observed phenomena. Technology that depends on relativistic or quantum principles would be delayed or impossible, transforming your daily life in ways both obvious and subtle. GPS navigation would not work, nuclear power would not exist, computers would be more primitive, solar panels would be less efficient or non-existent, medical imaging would be limited, our understanding of the universe would be shallow and incomplete. The geopolitical landscape would be different, with World War II and the Cold War unfolding differently. Cultural attitudes towards science, genius, and immigration would be different. The very way we think about time, space, and reality would be stuck in 19th century intuitions rather than 20th century revelations. One man's mind, one person's ability to think deeply about fundamental questions and arrive at revolutionary answers, changed everything. This is perhaps the most important lesson from our thought experiment. Individual genius matters. One person really can change the world. Einstein's contributions were not inevitable. They required his unique combination of intelligence, imagination, persistence, and courage to challenge established wisdom. Remove him from history, and much of what followed is delayed, changed, or never occurs at all. The world would be darker, less advanced, less connected, and less understood without Einstein's light illuminating the deepest mysteries of nature. Think about what this means for today. Right now, there are potential Einsteins out there, young people with brilliant minds who could revolutionize our understanding of dark matter, quantum gravity, consciousness, or problems we haven't even identified yet. Are we nurturing their talents? Are we providing resources and opportunities for them to develop their potential? Are we creating an environment where revolutionary thinking is encouraged rather than suppressed? Einstein's story reminds us that we cannot afford to waste human potential because one mind really can illuminate the darkness for all of us. The future depends on us recognizing and supporting the Einsteins among us, whoever and wherever they might be. So what do you think? Can you imagine a world without Einstein's contributions? What would you miss most? Which technology that depends on his theories do you rely on without thinking about it? And if you'd like, tell me where in the world you're watching this video from. Your comment is important, and I want to read and respond to it. For more exciting stories like this, click on the video that's playing on your screen right now.